I want to thank you all for being here and for being a part of this whole day of meditation. Hi, Dawn. Special welcome to Dawn. Happy Canadian Thanksgiving. And yeah, this whole day of meditation is part of us being present to and engaged with our dedicated mystical practice, which is part of our purpose and calling in ICN, right? That we're gathering a global community of dedicated mystical practitioners for the loving evolution of Christianity in the world. And this is how transformation happens, by giving ourselves over to dedicated practice, especially in the context of that gathered community, right? Where we can do that in the relational field and with one another. And that's what we've done today, and that's what we want to do, of course, in our WeSpace groups and all of our gatherings. These are all various forms of practice that teach us, that help us experience how to be present, how to be whole, how to be living in our divine being. So this last practice that we're going to do together today is, I think, in some ways a perfect capstone, because it's not a practice in and of itself, but it's an invocation to our practice that we do all throughout our lives, which we've been calling whole body mystical presencing, which is a practice to enter in the everyday reality of Christ consciousness, the moment-to-moment permeation of this spirit that we can presence, that we can move into. So this practice that we're doing is, we're going to do it now, but it's also not just for this now, but is also going to be invoking us into a way of practice and being throughout any moment, any time in the week ahead, in the weeks ahead, in the months, the years, and even perhaps even the time behind us as well, if you want to go that direction with it. So that's the spirit of whole body mystical presencing, that each moment is a practice. So we'll enter into now a focused time of dedicated practice to presence with that spirit through our four centers and our embodied wholeness. So let's begin moving into whatever posture you like or need to, as we attune and presence to this moment now, and begin with our breath. And in our whole body mystical presencing, we will start with our heartfulness. And as we cultivate our heart consciousness, we come alive to the energetic presence of love and connection through our hearts. As we open our heartful attunement, we may sense with our relational enlivenment in the dynamic field of the heart, both within our physical body and extending out beyond. Here and now, and in any moment, we can experience openness of heart with others, with nature, and even in the bliss of universal embrace. In the sensitivity of our tender heart, we can be conscious with our personal needs and healthy boundaries, And in the strength of our divine heart, we have the fortitude to bear and bless any and all things. For the source of love is inexhaustible and surges forth with every swell we draw upon and presence in our lives for this moment and any moment. As your heart pulses steady, so may your heartful presence beat with the rhythm of unending strength and steadfastness. And now, as we come into our wombfulness, we can sink down into the deep awareness of being cradled in the present, being held in the divine embrace of holy nurturing, and centering down into the space of deep being so that we might live tapped into the eternal source within. And right now, and at any moment, we can come home to ourselves in this deep way. We can find rest within, anchoring into our deepest being. Here, we are rooted in the intrinsic value of the very essence of our being, the immortal diamond of our divine identity. And we can let ourselves sink into this and welcome in our awareness, perhaps a keen feeling of this deep being as a living dynamic of our presence. And from this connection, the wellspring flows forth with fresh arisings of your ever-present becoming, your deepest understandings, your most resonant truth, your creative impulses, your intuitive knowing, your courageous vigor, your living vitality. And this current of new life at any and all times, ever flowing with no end, rising up with fresh life energy for this moment and any moment. As the waves reach the shore and return to the deep, may the flow of your being be held in ease and power. And as we move down to our feet, grounding our presence in our physical body, we welcome our body fullness, embracing the fullness of our material being, our holy incarnation as matter, as flesh, not as a separate object to notice, attend to, or control, but a living and pulsing consciousness of being through which we experience all of life. At any moment and right now, we can feel into our material participation with nature, with the energy of life, and we can choose to touch it, to touch life, to be directly engaged with the here and now, this time and place, joyfully immersed in the imminent present, rooted and grounded in the beautiful particular of our situated, sacred presence. And in this immediacy, we can move and flow in the mutual indwelling of Christ presence, the larger body than our individual form. We can presence through the spaciousness and permeation of matter, intricately connected and divinely entangled, our greater embodiment, manifest in interrelated divine consciousness, which is a radical mutuality and mystical entwining of bodily presence beyond our singular body. As the pulsing energy of life vibrates with immediate potency, may the living soil of your body be fertile and lush, sprouting and blooming forth into this beautiful now. Now, as we welcome our awareness through our head center, we can also practice the mindfulness of integration with the rest of our body, holistically embracing our mind, our knowing through the neural pathways throughout our entire being as our head works in integration with the rest of our body, our centers. At any moment and right now, we can open our mind into the posture of receptivity, opening to the lucidity, to the wider field beyond our usual thinking. We can gather up and bring forth from all our ways of knowing, surveying and integrating through all of our embodied structures of consciousness, welcoming and sharing together in this living, breathing spaciousness, the freedom of integrated knowing. In this receptive space, we can feel drawn through conscious engagement into any form of knowing, being in our whole body, coming alongside and serving as an integrated participant in holistic knowing and embodied mindful presence. As the wind blows and breezes as it will, may you breathe in and out through spirit in each moment, receiving and giving in wholeness, full of wisdom, divine insight, and joyful delight. And now, through our entire being, we welcome our awareness into the participation in holistic presence, coming into the fullness of being wholly present, open with the flow of integrated aliveness, with all of our ways of being and knowing, all of our structures of consciousness integrated and contributing in the embodied partaking of the here and now. As we live and move and have our being in divine wholeness, permeated and intertwined throughout our entire being, personal, collective, and universal, may we presence in fullness with our whole body being at any and all times, with whatever life brings to this now. And now, in the presencing of this moment that holds this now here together, I invite us to be present with the aliveness and the emergence of awareness and knowing and spirit here in our midst, with whatever is arising for you from all that has come forth today and whatever you've participated in actively or participated in other ways. As we gather up energy and awareness from this day of meditation and presence through this now, you may find some particular form of energy coming forth, or emotion, maybe an intention, a welcoming, or some kind of invitation. Or maybe just a sense of intuition or feeling. Whatever is here, we'll welcome that now, first with a few moments of silence. And then after that, we'll open up for speaking. But first, let yourself be open in your holistic presence and awareness to whatever is arising and whatever life is bringing forth right now. And now, as we open the we space to sharing and speaking anything that's alive here from this practice or from the whole day, I just encourage us all as we welcome this reflective awareness, or maybe things that have come forth earlier in the day or now, to speak it forth in the present tense, because it's still here and alive and with us, even if it happened before now. So you can try that if you like, or just feel free to name anything that's come up here in our we space as we're sharing with the present moment and this whole day of meditation.
Well, Luke, I am going to use the past tense to frame where I am now. Since I was actively leading this morning and then facilitating in the early afternoon, when I came here, there's just such, even though I was leading, there was such fullness of presence. I've been on the edge of sleeping. I have this image that I was a bread rising in the oven overnight. Just all that I've taken in during the day, and then when I open my eyes, and now in the current time when I'm more awake, it's like I'm relaxing more into my own tender heart and enjoyment of the group field that has carried through the day and is still present. So the present tense is tenderheartedness and connection with the current field.
My takeaway has been what I would say, the lessons for my heart. Lessons for my heart. Open, expanding, presencing. And it's just been very healthy to be amongst people oriented the way we are. Thank you.
Well, this is only the second session I've attended, but they've both been very rich. While we were in the womb space just in this present session, I had an image, and I'm not sure how many of you have seen the poster of Gandhi's head. And when you look at it, you see Gandhi's head, but when you look closely, you see all these little faces that make up the head. Any of you seen that poster? Yeah. That's what I had. That's what came to me. My first thought was, are these all the voices that have spoken to me and told me what to do and all that sort of thing, or criticized? And then I thought, no, I'm not. These are the voices of people with whom I'm connected. I don't even know them all, but we're all one. We're in this container. I'll put it like that. I don't want to use that word, but because it implies boundaries. But we're in this. I don't have another word for it. Where we are indeed connected, all one. And I think it was symbolic that it was Gandhi with his message of peace. That we all are called to be peacemakers, peace givers. That's the interpretation I'm going to make. Not the voices that have spoken to me in the past.
I think in the last few weeks, And in the 2 sessions that I was able to attend today, I'm feeling this growing sense of, I know we use the word emergence, but I feel like there's something going on within me that is emerging, and it's good. And when Gary said something about lessons for the heart, I just have to, or maybe I'm ready to just rest in that and let it be, let it grow.
Well, thank you. I'm grateful that I could do all 4 sessions today. And with this practice, when you say each moment is a practice, I always hear in my mind is a practice of gratitude. And I feel so lucky to be part of this community. And I try to do a daily gratitude practice, and I have the big one coming up in the month of November, which is 10 things every day. Write down 10 things every day for 30 days. They're all different, 10 different things. And then you have that 300 things by the end of the month to look back on. And it's a 12-step exercise, but it's just so powerful and beautiful. And I've been doing it a few years. So that November is really, by Thanksgiving, I'm really feeling it. It really, really is a wonderful practice. And that feeling of doing that gratitude practice is how this day felt to me. And so many of the experiences, including the WeSpace experience, of course, but during the divine movement today, I had this, during the last piece of music, I thought I'm going to look in my heart and ask myself some questions. And I did some pendulum work, and I was telling our group, I think you were in that, Susan. Yeah, I think you were. And that I was able to answer some questions during that. So divine movement, maybe not just physical, but maybe other ways, other movement too. So I appreciated to have that experience a lot. And learning about spiritual companioning, I was really excited to see what it is different from WeSpace. And I mean, it's clearly very different from WeSpace. So it was quite, anyway, in my WeSpace group, we are great. We give great love for one another, and we have great advice for one another. And that is not what you do in spiritual companioning. I could see that today. And that was a beautiful thing to witness. It really filled my heart with awe and even more appreciation for being here, and for all of you who are doing all the work behind the scenes, Luke and company. Thank you all, and bless you all. Sending you love and grace. Thank you.
This is a very individual insight, but participating in the companioning, what arose was interesting is that it's okay to set boundaries with my loving relationships. Probably doesn't make sense unless you were there.
I'm going to say it made perfect sense. You didn't have to be there, Chris. That was beautiful. And the emotion in your voice went right from me hearing of your words to my heart. Thank you, honey.
for myself today, there was new practices, and the dancing and singing was something new, and the spiritual companionship was something new, and both of them very powerful and very meaningful. And thank you for making it possible to have this day. I really appreciate it.
I shared this with my breakout group with the um, Divine Movement, and it was about a dream I had that um, I was dying, and there was a physician attending to me, and I knew I was going to be reborn as a baby, but the physician, as he was helping me to die, he said, "I will play this song to honor you, the meaning of life." And then I died, and I woke up from the dream. And the Divine Movement had that song that was a call to remember who you are. So I've just been having imagery and visions of just music and songs, and I don't know if any of you are into turntables or records and vinyls, because that's just really interesting metaphor of how the stylus has to go through the groove of the vinyl to pick up all of the micro vibrations and everything. And I was just thinking about who am I? Am I the vinyl? Am I the stylus? Am I the am I the electricity? Am I the sound? Am I the ear hearing the sound? And it's everything. It just seems like you're everything, and you're um
Mm.
all involved in this music production, and it's a beautiful dance and a beautiful um it's a beautiful time that I've had with all of you, and remembering this aspect of life as a dance or a song.
Well, for me today in this meditation, somehow, Luke, your words just seem to open up spaces inside. And the only words I can say is a full, empty resonance. That sounds pretty abstract, but part of that is this beautiful field that is created in our community, our collective, which I am always just astounded that to see these faces on the screen and yet feel such a deep connection. Who knew with Zoom what was possible? So once again, in the field with you all in community, I experience these profound deep states that I can't get to just with myself alone, and that's such a blessing. So thank you so much. Thank you for this day. I didn't get to all of it. I look forward to the recordings, but thank you, Luke, and thank you to everybody who's showing up here.
I think for me, today, I was to come and be open to the energy that all of you would be able to give me, and also that I could receive healing in whatever way was going to happen. And I think for me, it was just to be open. I leave not with any miracle or any insight. I just gratitude for all of you and for today and the energy that I was receiving. Thank you.
And when I come back in, I have been in continuing in the present, living with the turmoil of the external circumstances in Near East, external turmoil, internal turmoil. And so being with you right now has a it's not poignant, but the savoring of the sweetness and the deep and profound sense that this is important, and that even though we may frame and speak of what's happened in terms of our personal experience, it's always way more than our personal experience in ways that we don't know. Precious work.
I think when Luke mentioned during the practice, the words bearing and blessing. Do I have that right, Luke? I hope so. And I thought that the last day or so has, as Alan pointed out, been full of being reading about the great pain that is going on in certain areas. And I thought about Dawn's work, and I thought, it's a lot easier to bear things and bless things when we're connected rather than by ourselves. For me, I think.
Yeah, I feel that strongly, like this both andness. Like Sierra, you mentioned this full empty resonance or something like that, right? This quality of fullness and gratitude. The gratitudes come up a lot, and that just feeling that really alive, and kind of that feeling, this sense of almost like that that feeling you get after you've had a big turkey dinner, that kind of that tired fullness and sleepiness. Canadian Thanksgiving, of course. And but then too, like, yeah, this kind of longing in me. I don't know, sensing this longing of like that pull toward the greater participation, the energy and the work of something on a more something as well in the integrated cosmic sense that I can't quite name or fully describe, but can feel that kind of flow into that as well, of a giving, of an emptying, a contribution, a presence with so much more that's also beyond all that is here now in its wonderful fullness and gratitude.
Luke, what's emerging for me is a lack of clarity between the whole body mystical awakening and the whole body mystical presencing. One is more of a deepening, one is more of holding the presence, the sense of the divine present with us. Like, I'm wondering if you might be able to speak a little bit about that.
Sure, really at the core of it is just a timing thing. Whole body mystical presencing is to be in that awakened present state of being at any and every moment, so that there is a deepening in that because it's interweaving into the fabric of our lives. So that's why as we do a focused meditation here of whole body mystical presencing, it's not really that, because the presencing is about how we attend to that whenever it comes forth. And that's why this was kind of an invocation practice. There are even blessings in it, right? That we deepen into that state of being, that way of being that we can feel into in this concentrated time, but that we can be with in presence and live in and through at any moment, all throughout our days. Hope that's
Song just came to me, just to be is a blessing.
I've been sitting here and been thinking of the symbol of Christ, of Jesus the Christ, has been the cross. And none of our discussion brought that up in me. But that maybe a more appropriate symbol for the incarnate Christ within each of us is a flow of love, somehow connecting all of us, even us here on screen. I'm not an artist, but I'd certainly like to see how someone would image something other than the cross for Jesus, because that was a means of execution. It wasn't symbolic of, well, in a way it was symbolic of his love, because he came for us. But anyways, I ponder it.
Betty Jean, just in your saying that, I'm taken back to my childhood home, and upon entering our house, my mom had a picture of what we would call the Sacred Heart of Jesus, and it just that whole image of Jesus standing there with his hand in blessing, but he's holding this heart that is on fire, but the cross is tiny on it, but the heart is so big. And so I was just, that just kind of came into my head. So you might look at some iconography and see if that resonates with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
It's interesting emerging that kind of sense of a desire for a symbol that reflects the love and flow and aliveness and presence that maybe we've had a taste of today in certain ways, and how we can look upon that and return to it and participate in it and engage with it. And that's a big part of our heart, our mythic structure of consciousness, right? Engaging with something that reflects back to us that representation, that way of engaging with it. And that's beautiful, you know. It can be really meaningful to find that, to name that, to set an intention around that. And it can be anything, it can be whatever symbols drawing forth for you to hold in representation. I've been creating my own altar space over here because I used to have my wife's and it had all of her symbols and things, and that was nice and wonderful, but she's like, I never get to go in there, you're always in there. So we moved it to our bedroom, and so it's like, oh yeah, what am I putting on mine? What's holding the symbol for the moment, for this now, for how spirit is moving. And that's a wonderful participation too. So, anything else? Any other last words or thoughts as we close our time?
Oh, I got to share my little silly story. So rock painting, with grandchildren. I am not an artist either, BJ. So somehow I got this rock and I painted blue and a base of black and made little ripples. So it's like, because my word for this year has been flow. I don't know. Anyway, so the symbol, the artwork can be very basic. So my little rock is sitting in my bedroom.
Even if I only attended 2 sessions, I felt that I left the group, that my expanded consciousness, I was always with you. And I'm so happy to be here with you guys.
Thanks, Victor. And thank you, Helen. I'm glad you got to join this morning for you, the one session that worked for your time zone. Glad you could be here.
Thank you, Luke. And I just wanted to share something, actually, if I could, just for a moment, when we're talking about art and flow and what people sort of have been doing. And I'm just picking it up because it's in my office. Just see if I can get the camera right on this one. I'm just going to turn it around. Can you see that? And get that right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just something I've been playing with. Sorry, I'm not sure how to turn the camera around. I'm a bit of a Luddite on this phone. Yeah, so I've just been playing artistically. I haven't painted for years, but it's been a delight to dance some of that on canvas. And as BJ said, to get away from execution and to move symbolic ways of, I don't even know if symbolic's the word, but the newer sort of flow around it. Anyway, thank you. And I've really felt, even though I've only just come into this, gosh, I've felt the field around you. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks, Helen. And thank you all for participating in this. You've thanked me. I want to especially thank Alan for being the primary organizer of this and making it happen along with Kathy, and just appreciate this day of meditation, which has been a feast and also a taste of a larger feast that we're going to have for our annual gathering in November. We're calling it a mystical feast. So not just one day. Actually, it came forth from the planning of this. We're like, we have so many things, we can't fit it all in one day. And we're like, well, what a great way to celebrate our annual gathering this year. So we'll have a whole week.
What are those dates, Luke?
November 5th through the 12th.
Oh.
So it's a whole week, and there'll be various practices all throughout the week. So it's not like something you can block off your, calendar and take off work or whatever. But yeah, we'll have that schedule out pretty soon, later this week or early next week, and there'll be all sorts of different practices all throughout the week and ways that we can participate in that mystical feast for our annual gathering in November. If you can make that, some of that, any of that, all of it, it'll be the same thing, just not the same thing. It'll be an intensified, expanded form of this. We'll be doing even some of the similar practices and more as well. So hope you can make it then. And yeah, if you're interested in group spiritual companioning or participating in divine movement or the morning meditations, there's also ongoing forms of those at all times as well. So reach out to Alan or Kathy or me for information on that. And thank you all so much. Yeah, much love, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Blessings all. Be well.